Alrighty, welcome to Around the Blockchain, a very special episode. We are at Rare Bloom right now. First off, how are we all feeling? Ben, how are you feeling about Rare Bloom so far?
I think it's been an awesome event. I think the vibe has been really good. The people have been really good. A lot of people here that are building, and we always like to hear that. So it's been very organized and structured, and more than you can say for a lot of first-year conferences.
Yeah, they say the quickest way to a man's heart is through his stomach, and the food was delicious, so it's 2 thumbs up from me. But all right, let's go ahead and get right into it. Today we're going to be talking about NFT marketplaces, multi-chain marketplaces, just the multi-chain ecosystem in general. And I'm going to start with the elephant in the room, and Ben, that's the number one NFT marketplace. We all know it is OpenSea, and OpenSea just seems to turn a blind eye to Cardano. In your opinion, why do you think that is?
Well, first and foremost, OpenSea sucks. So let's go ahead and get that out of the way first. Nobody enjoys using OpenSea. You don't have anyone that's an OpenSea fanboy. Like, that's not a real thing. People use OpenSea because they feel like they have to, because so far, there's not been a great multi-chain, NFT platform, marketplace, that's really been able to capture what a lot of people are looking at, which is the fun of crypto.
Yeah.
OpenSea feels very like robotic. It is not intuitive. And it just, nobody who uses it gets a good user experience. What is it? Broken sea. That's what they say a lot about.
Yep.
So
Down sea.
Yeah. So first and foremost, they're all about money, and they don't care about the communities. They care about whatever's going to line their pockets the most. And obviously, Cardano has been kind of shunned by OpenSea for whatever reason. But this is not anything new. Like, this is not an OpenSea problem. Look at Coinbase, how long it took Coinbase to add Cardano. There's plenty of other platforms. It seems like Cardano is like the last holdout. Like, why is this obvious great project not on this platform? So I think that what we've really seen is they missed out on a huge opportunity, because the Cardano NFT space is growing. It's more vibrant than any other ecosystem right now when it comes to layer ones and NFTs. So I think ultimately this is OpenSea's mistake, and they're going to regret it.
All right, I'm glad you, and if you don't mind passing it to Fettuccine, I'm glad you brought up it's somewhat ignored. I would take it a step further, and I would say it's gone past the point of ignoring, and it's almost at the point of misinformation at this point. We've seen it with Masari Crypto. We see it with all the total value locked charts. You'll see it with NFT volume charts. We see time and time again, Cardano is not even on the list, even though it should be. It should be a number 2 on this day or a number 3 on this day, maybe right below Ethereum, maybe right below Solana. And yet they keep neglecting it on all these charts from very well-respected crypto leaders. Fettuccine, why is that happening? Is this just a dev issue? They don't know where to look, or they don't have employees who know how to look? Or do you think there might be something purposeful behind this?
I think initially it was more difficult to code on Cardano and integrate your marketplace with Cardano NFTs. It's a different system. It's not interacting with smart contracts initially. It was native assets. But now it's just an oversight. I think that we are too loud of a community, and there are such incredible builders, and ignoring what's going on in Cardano is ultimately going to be the detriment of these bigger platforms. I mean, we see OpenSea just now touching into Solana NFTs, and we see Magic Eden just now touching into Ethereum NFTs, but nobody is touching Cardano yet, and the builders within the Cardano ecosystem are coming up and taking that platform. So I think that the people within the Cardano ecosystem are going to be the first ones to fully integrate every single NFT ecosystem under the same umbrella, and those are going to be the ones who ultimately take down OpenSea. I think OpenSea, they've made their money. They were integrated so many years ago, and they just don't care about it because they're the first movers, and they have that market established. So who cares if they're still pulling in millions of dollars a day without putting in the millions of dollars that it would take to create this kind of platform?
All right, you brought up a good point, the community's response there. And we saw it when Charles Hoskinson spoke at Masari's event. Ryan Selkos, he brought him on board, he brought him on stage, seemed to be a little more receptive to it. But Justin, I want to talk about maybe some of the big money behind some of these protocols and behind some of these data analytics sites. Do you think there's anything conspiratorial going on with, maybe they have too much money in Solana, and if Cardano's ahead of them on a certain chart, whether it's TVL, NFT volume, wallet, daily active users, do you think there's any misaligned motives here? Is there any chicanery, any shadiness going on when it comes to Cardano stats?
I mean, I think that's an obvious thing. Now, what those are, I'm not sure. I'll let Ben speak to that. I'm sure he has a lot to say on that topic. But it's obvious because we are the number 3 as far as Cardano, CNFTs. We are the number 3 when it comes to volume. And to be left off on all those charts, left off on all the mainstream marketplaces, it's sad. But I also think it's a community issue too. I think that we don't have enough people talking about Cardano NFTs. I talk to devs all the time. I talk to people doing projects all the time on other chains, and they literally have no idea that Cardano has NFTs. Now, I found out about Cardano NFTs in January, but they were going on 6 months before that already. So I do think that we're reaching a point where it's critical mass, where the community is about to bust out and everybody is about to find out about that, and it's going to be exposed. But as far as like motives behind why they're taking off, I know Ben's probably biting at the bit to talk about that, but I'm not sure what they are, but it is an obvious thing for sure.
All right, well, let's pass it to Ben. Ben, is this Ethereum whales? Is this Solana investors? What's going on here?
Wow, I just heard conspiracy and I got excited. That's all. Yeah. I just like conspiracies. Look, I think, yesterday, on stage when I was with Charles, I said this and I'll say it again. Cardano is the anti-Solana, right? Or Solana is the anti-Cardano. They're as far into the spectrum as you can possibly imagine. And when you look at the distribution of the coins and the way that all the Solana went to the VCs, and nobody thinks it's weird, right? That at the peak of the market, all of a sudden, all these VCs that had money in Solana, they opened all these multi-$100 million funds for blockchain development. Where do you think they got that money from? Got that money from the exit liquidity from all the people buying the top of Solana. They pumped it from the inside, and then they took advantage of the exit liquidity, and they got out, right? So when you look at the way that Solana and Sam Bankman-Fried operate, they operate in the shadows. Like, this isn't something that if you were just watching like or if you're reading a news story, they're not going to talk about this because it's all done in the shadows. Very similar to what Sam Bankman-Fried is doing, trying to push this federal bit license. I don't know if you guys have heard me talk about this before. If you watch my channel, you have. I got double and triple confirmation on that while I've been at this conference from some people who do know that is coming. Sam Bankman-Fried has been working in the shadows with the government, not trying to create government regulation with some politicians, including Chuck Schumer, who created the original New York bit license, right? They're trying to create this nationally in the United States. It's the worst piece of legislation that was ever created, the bit license. And he wants to do it for the whole country, okay? Now, we called him out for this. We discovered this by doing some background political investigation around some stuff that we're doing. We came across this information. They basically, they tried to steal a person who we have with some legislation that we're working on, and that's how this all came out. But the fact is that if you look at Sam Bankman-Fried, if you look at Brian Armstrong, these are probably the 2 most powerful crypto people in America. And what do they have in common? Well, they both run completely centralized exchanges. What you're looking at here is you're looking at the difference between centralization and decentralization. Cardano obviously wants decentralization. Decentralized exchanges, yes, we're talking about the difference between an exchange and a project, I understand that, but they want everything to be centralized. They want to come after Sunday Swap. They want to come after any DEX that's created on Cardano. They want to make them illegal. That is what Sam Bankman-Fried is trying to do. It's the whole mindset and philosophy. So very interestingly enough, we had the Tornado Cash thing that happened probably about 2 months ago, right? And what did Sam Bankman-Fried come out and make statements after that happened? All of a sudden, he started explaining the difference between whitelisting and blacklisting and how they're both good. How you can take certain addresses and say, these addresses are good, these addresses are bad. Well, that's exactly what we're so afraid of with the CBDC, right? We're scared that they're gonna have control of our money and we're not gonna be able to spend it because we're on a blacklist, right? So when you look at that, and Sam Bankman-Fried's ideas of what he wants to push, then he's got the leeway and the money and the wiggle room to make sure a project like Cardano doesn't flourish. And so when you really look at that, I think what people really have to do is understand that right now we are at the most pivotal point in the history of crypto. There's no question about it. We are right at the precipice of regulation, sweeping regulation that's either going to go one way that's going to be friendly towards decentralization, or it's going to go the other way, and it's going to be totally anti-decentralization, totally centralized. It's going to stifle innovation in America. And when you understand that these two polar opposite ideas are really battling each other right now, it's really easy to see why Cardano gets left off stuff.
Yeah, and I know for a fact no one in this room wants to get rid of decentralized exchanges. No one wants to get rid of Sunday Swap. No one wants to get rid of MinSwap. And could we just get a round of applause for decentralization in the room right now? There's good points there. Yeah. That was an exercise in decentralization, and that was the first successful DAO ever. We all agreed to clap our hands here. All right, next, let's move on a little bit here. When it comes to multi-chain, of course, Ethereum, Polygon, those are really big. We have Solana, we have Cardano. Now, Fettuccine, what do you think the next chain to pop is going to be, and why?
I think that there are a lot of underrepresented NFT communities, and obviously we've seen that with Cardano. I think I wanted to tap back with what Justin said. I think it does come back to a community issue where Cardano has been so siloed into the algorithm on Twitter that you're only talking with such a small community every time you talk about Cardano or Cardano NFTs. So once it broke into the NFT ecosystem, then breaking out of that extremely tight bubble is hard, and that's why I make an active effort to interact with Ethereum NFT collectors and Solana NFT collectors to break out of that bubble. I think the upcoming ones, I would say AVAX maybe, or Tezos. I think they've been established, and that's more of an art-focused NFT platform, and I definitely see credence to those coming forward too. It's just about those communities also breaking out of their small echo chambers on Twitter.
All right, Tezos and AVAX. I was talking to Justin last night. He's like, it's a little weird that VeChain and XRP have NFTs. Not so much that there's NFTs, but it's not what it was built for, and it's definitely something I've been thinking about. Now, Fettuccine brings up a good point, Justin, where he's talking about community. I think a lot of people would agree a main value proposition of Cardano is its community, especially in the NFT ecosystem. So I want to ask you this, Justin. If the volume were to increase to the point where it's at Ethereum's volume, would we still have the community that we have today?
Ooh, well, that's a really good question. I haven't really thought about that before. I think yes and no. I think if the volume were to grow to the size of Ethereum, obviously we're going to be getting a lot of other people from different networks to come in. Now, what that'll do to the ecosystem as a whole, I'm not sure. However, I do think that would be a good thing to elevate our user base and community in the Cardano ecosystem to that level, because I don't know why crypto, and especially Web3 and especially NFTs, have become so tribal. Like if you I'm wearing an Ape Fest shirt. For those of you who don't know, that's an Ethereum-based NFT, and some people would frown upon that, right, in the Cardano community. And vice versa. If you go into the Ethereum community and you start talking about Cardano NFTs, they'll run you out of the room. So I think that's the kind of stuff that needs to stop if the entire space is going to grow in general. And it's not just about NFTs. It's also about chains and tokens and everything. The entire ecosystem kind of needs to be coming together. We're all trying to do the same thing, decentralize, whatever we're a part of. So yeah, the tribalism probably needs to stop. Now, what it would do to the Cardano ecosystem, I think it would still stay strong. We have a lot of loyal people here.
Just one man's experience. NFT NYC, when I say that I'm in Cardano, yeah, you're right. There is a little bit of ridicule. But when at a Cardano conference and I wear Mutant, I don't get that vibe. So, just my testimonial, I will say that the Cardano community is a little more open to Ethereum than Ethereum is to Cardano.
I have been in the Cardano NFT scene since the first day that NFTs dropped on Cardano, and I think that the difference between Ethereum NFTs, that ecosystem, and the Cardano NFT ecosystem is all about hype and market on Ethereum, but on Cardano it really is built on the foundation of community and built on the foundation of communication. Back when we didn't have smart contracts for our NFTs and we had to trade, we wanted to sell our NFT, we'd have to go on Discord and open up a chat with somebody who was interested and discuss and go through all right, I don't want to sell for 1,000 ADA, I want to sell for 500 ADA. And because we did this for months, we formed such a tight group, and now there's 100 times as many collectors, but based on the foundation that we built without smart contracts and based on that communication, we've sustained that community, and you can attest to that now. So I think that even if we 10x from here, 100x from here, we still have that underlying foundation that it was built on.
All right, raise your hand if you're trading Cardano NFTs before smart contracts. Will they accept my offer or not? Hey, guy in Discord, please don't rob me here. Ben, I want to talk about this multi-chain communities here. we're not really seeing it with the marketplaces. In your opinion, why hasn't the Magic Eden users embraced Ethereum NFT sales, and why hasn't OpenSea users embraced Solana sales? If you're on Solana, you just go to Magic Eden, and when will that change?
Well, I don't think it's going to. I don't think it's going to when we're talking about OpenSea or Magic Eden. I think here's the thing. When you look at Cardano NFTs, it really is very strongly community-based, right? But Cardano's got a bigger community than almost any other community. And it's funny, whenever we poll people on my channel, XRP and Cardano, it's split 50-50 in my community. And almost everybody that watches my channel is in either one or the other or both. And I think the community is like very, very strong. When you look at Solana, it doesn't have as big of a community. When you look at these other projects, they do have communities, or they do exist. And when you look at these niche sites that are a niche site that's basically just for one community, like Magic Eden was with Solana, you're going to attract all the people that are hardcore Solana people, right? People that are more kind of just dabbling, they're going to use probably OpenSea. And I think it's kind of a problem where there has not been a good multi-chain NFT marketplace that's been able to capture everything, be extremely intuitive, user-friendly, have features, have options. I mentioned yesterday we are part of working on an NFT platform that will be out pretty soon, and I can tell you it's a one-stop shop for everything. We want to have every single chain on there that's legitimate, that has a community and people that are willing to buy those. And it's a better experience than anything that's offered. And so really looking forward to seeing that in the future. But I think right now we're kind of in a catch-22 where the bear market is whittled down so much that it's basically just like the hardcore people left in these communities. Y'all are hardcore. That's y'all. There we go. Let's say hardcore Cardano, right? So these hardcore communities, they're going to tend to support the projects that are more focused or they're going to support the marketplaces that are more focused on their niche. Once again, because nothing else has been created to really serve all the needs. And I think when people finally see this NFT marketplace that's going to be cross-chain, going to be launching with Cardano, right? It's going to be one of the four that we launch with. People are going to see it's a better user experience, and there's a reason to go there and use it, especially if you are into, other NFT, chains and stuff. How many of you guys? Here's a question: how many of you guys only own Cardano NFTs? That's it. You don't own any other chains. Okay.
Wow.
Okay. Now, how many of you guys own NFTs from multi-chains? Yeah, exactly. We love Cardano. I personally believe, and I'm not just saying this because I'm here at a, flipping Cardano conference. I said on Twitter the other day, the Cardano NFTs are superior. They are the best. There's no question about that. The community is the best. And I think that's really what drives it. We just keep talking about community because it's so important. So we hope that when the one we're working on launches, you guys come find a good home there because, we're going to definitely be highlighting Cardano NFTs for sure.
I agree with that proposition. I think, like to your point, you launch OpenSea with Ethereum, so you just have that user base. You launch Magic Eden with Solana, you have that user base. You're going to need to launch simultaneously with all the chains,
Exactly.
and then that's where you'll get the people who raise their hand that do have multi-NFTs. All right, Fettuccine, real quick. I want to ask you, kind of the topic du jour in NFTs today, it's the big royalty or not debate, and I want to ask you, is it possible for an NFT to succeed without royalties?
Yeah, I think that it's opening a broader conversation. I think that it's exacerbated by the bear market. So all these flippers and like the people scraping for 1.8 at 2.8 on trades, they're insisting on zero royalties because they want that little edge. But it really is pushing out smaller projects and making it a lot harder for them to sustain themselves. I think that it opens up the conversation to project founders getting away from relying on royalties as their primary source of income. I think that creating a business and only relying on one source of income is super destructive and not thinking in the long term for your project. So whether it's extending an IP or creating different whatever revenues streams you want outside of purely royalties and outside of purely selling NFTs, that's how you create a sustaining business. And that's what I think it'll ultimately, I think, create a better brand, a better version of NFT projects coming out because they're going to be thinking differently and thinking of more sustainable ways to promote themselves and grow in the future.
All right, so certainly possible, but you need other revenue streams. Just a quick follow-up, is it possible to have a free mint and no royalties and succeed?
I don't think that's
That one might be a little
I-
bit tougher.
Yeah, I think that meta is definitely going to go away. Relying on royalties, I mean, you saw Goblin Town, like how much they raised just purely off of a free mint and giving up, I think, 5% royalty because they tapped into the community. But now it really wouldn't have that same network effect because now they don't have those funds to invest in it, and they had an insane presence at NFT NYC, which solidified their value in the ecosystem. So I think that's a lot harder of a meta to push forward going forward. So I don't think we're going to be seeing too many free mints soon.
All right. Final question, then I'll ask everyone's their thoughts overall in the Cardano NFT community. All right, Justin, we were talking about the hardcore community members earlier in the Cardano NFT space. If JPEG Store were to add Solana, how would that hardcore community react?
Real quick, I want to talk about what Ben was talking about just a minute ago, and then I'll get back to that question. I do think that what we have, the issues with the marketplaces we have right now, and the reason why they're not accepting multi-chain is because we're dealing with Marketplace 1.0. All the marketplaces out right now are basically cookie-cutter clones of OpenSea, LooksRare, even JPEG Store, even Magic Eden for their particular network. And what has to happen, and what is going to happen on the marketplace that Ben's talking about and that we're putting together, is we're going to be adding so many features. The big thing about Web3 and NFTs is community. So we're going to allow people, when they come to this marketplace, to engage and cultivate and grow and stay informed within their community without having to leave the platform, which I think holds a tremendous value when you talk about Web3 and NFTs. So that's to come, and you'll hear more about that later. But to that question about what would happen to JPEG Store if they added Solana, I think it would be a FUD when it comes to that particular platform, because they are super Cardano hardcore based, which I love JPEG Store. I mean, that's literally the only thing you can use right now to buy NFTs on Cardano. But it goes back to that tribalism that we're talking about. And that's the kind of stuff that needs to stop, and we need to be more accepting. And Cardano is more accepting, I think, than most chains, which is cool.
Yeah.
But we still, as a community, need to be a little more accepting when it comes to cross-chain, multi-chain communities.
All right, and we'll just wrap it up. You can keep it, Justin. We'll pass it down the line here. I want you to tell me, where do you see Cardano NFTs in relation to Ethereum and Solana in the years coming forward?
I think it's coming. I think the mass. I mean, we're starting to see large Ethereum NFT wells starting to move into the space, like into the Cardano space. And I tweeted this the other day on Twitter that it seems like all the other ecosystems, like Solana and Ethereum NFT ecosystems, seem to be dying. They're bleeding pretty bad. However, the Cardano NFT ecosystem right now is flourishing. You saw like a mini spring pump coming just last week, and it's still up. We just dropped something the other day, JPEG Junkies, Deezy and I, and it sold out. So it's kind of the sign that, the writing on the wall. I think when the market does come back in full force, we're going to be right there with Ethereum and Solana.
All right, Fettuccine, same question.
Yeah, I mean, I share the same sentiment. Cardano NFT Twitter is thriving right now, while every other ecosystem is falling, and people are liquidating their assets and just removing themselves from the ecosystem. So I think that if we could stand this strong in the bear market, imagine what we're going to be doing in the bull market. And I did want to touch on one thing about why I also think that other ecosystems, marketplaces don't touch Cardano NFTs currently, is because of the fact that they're all native assets. So if you were to list if I were to list a Space Bud, I can only list it on JPEG Store. I can't list it on multiple marketplaces.
So it's a network effect issue.
Like I can on Ethereum, I can list on 5 different marketplaces if I wanted to. So when all the liquidity is in one place on JPEG Store, then it makes it a lot harder for another marketplace to come in and take any market share from them until you get past that tipping point of 30, 40%, 50%. Then it becomes everyone on that marketplace. So I would love to see smart contracts be made on Cardano to become backwards compatible. You list your NFT to the smart contract, and then that smart contract could then be listed in 5 different marketplaces at once, because that really pushes the value of decentralization, and it allows for different marketplaces to come up and compete with each other fairly instead of just where the liquidity is.
Yeah. All right, Ben, thoughts? Cardano NFTs in the years to come.
Yeah, talking about Cardano, I mean, look, Solana's a joke. We all know Solana's a joke. I mean, there is not a vibrant Solana community that exists. I mean, and that is the, the cause of that is how they did the tokenomics and how many people came in at the top and got burned. Whereas Cardano's done it the opposite way. I mean, I really can't harp on that enough because it's just a fact. So I don't look at Solana as a competitor, a serious competitor. Yeah, sure, like they can have NFTs that sell out if SBF buys them all, and I'm sure he's willing to do that. Maybe get an NFT of himself with a good haircut would be nice. But, the fact is that when you look at Ethereum versus Cardano, like this is the race. Like this is the race, not just in NFTs. It's a race in, smart contracts, layer ones, market cap. It's between Cardano and Ethereum. I don't think there is another competitor, to be honest with you. I don't think that, Polkadot or, God forbid, Tezos, like none of these are serious projects compared to Ethereum and Cardano. And when you look at, the way Ethereum was built, obviously, I know Charles was involved in that. They knew very early on that they had like massive problems, and they were going to try to solve those over time instead of doing it backwards or instead of doing it the right way, where you work all the problems out first and then put everything out. So I do think that, for a long time, it looked like the slow roadmap of Cardano was going to, really kind of, maybe its Achilles heel because Ethereum was able to get out to a much bigger lead. But we really are looking at, like Charles says, like the difference between, a lake or a pond and an ocean when it comes to developers. So I think you can really take that, Cardano versus Ethereum head on, situation, and you can, DeFi, NFTs, market cap, market share, users, network effects. Like you could really make a case in each one of those categories for which one's going to win. But I think that when you look at NFTs or Cardano, this is the secret weapon that it has against Ethereum. If right now, and I really want to encourage you guys, I know Justin keeps harping on the, the tribalism. Like, this is going to be really hard for you guys to believe. It's going to be shocking. Sometimes I get attacked on Twitter.
Whoa.
Yeah, it's crazy. I know, right? Who would have ever thought? How could you possibly look at my Twitter and think somebody would, try to verbally assault me on there? But the fact is, like, just yesterday, I had a tweet and there were some responses. I think something about me on stage with Charles, and the comment was, "Doesn't that guy own XRP?" You're a low IQ idiot. I'm sorry. If you think someone else owning another coin is a bad thing, then you're an idiot. I'm sorry, I don't have another word for you. You're about as low IQ as it can possibly get. For us to be able to grow this entire ecosystem, you can't just grow one chain. You can't just grow one chain. You have to give people the ability to choose. And when you look at Bitcoin maximalists, the reason we hate them and they're so toxic is because they became the very thing they started out to stop, right? You don't want to be that. You don't want to be that in the Cardano community where you push people away because they may have different opinions. You have to let everybody grow into a place where they're mature in crypto, and that may mean they're diversified. That doesn't mean that they're going to only own one coin. And so when you have this idea that you want to force your beliefs on somebody, you're no better than what we started to stop. And so you got to stop that. And this is really, I think, a big warning for the Cardano NFT community because you guys are very close-knit. There's not a gigantic, huge Cardano NFT community compared to like if we were to look at the bull run, for instance. The overall users in crypto are down. And there might be this, this presupposition, this premise that some of you have is like, no, I like it small. I want it to be where everybody's so committed to these projects and they only own Cardano. That's how you keep people from coming in. And you have to remember when you get these people that are degens and flippers and that are just looking to make a quick buck, when those people rush into the ecosystem, when prices are going up, don't push those people away. Don't reject them. You got to be accepting of new people coming in because if you look at when Justin and I both, like me and Justin have been friends for 15 years, right? We've been good friends. He helped me create my first NFTs. And when we went back to 2017, we were talking about it today, right? Like I've been in crypto since 2012, but I sold in 2013, Bitcoin. And then 2014, I thought Bitcoin was over when Mt. Gox happened. 2015, 2016, I bought a little Bitcoin here, sold a little there, but I wasn't in crypto. When we both came into crypto full time in 2017, we were like so immature. Like we had no idea what was going on with all it. We were just talking about it this morning at breakfast. Like we thought any day, the entire bear market, that like things were just gonna turn around and all of a sudden things were gonna be better. And you know what happened? We went through a full cycle and we matured. And now we understand the ecosystem better. And so we would have been those people that you would have pushed away. We would have been the people you would have rejected because we came in very naive. And when you get a lot of people coming in from naivete, if you will, and they're new to crypto, it's annoying. Like, it's really annoying, to see the people on crypto Twitter. They're like, no, tomorrow it's going to $100,000. It's annoying because you know that's not going to happen. And so I really encourage you guys not to push people away when they come in, even though they might seem annoying, because some of those people that come in are annoying. In 4 years, those will be people that are studied, mature, and can be some of your best champions.
I think that's a great point. The noobs will become the experts if you give them time, you give them a hand up. And I just want to end with a little bit of a bullish note. I'm going to predict something right here. I'm putting out a grand proclamation. There's going to be a great migration. I think I agree with these takes where Ethereum, Solana, maybe their market share is going to go down. Cardano is going to go up. We haven't seen this yet, but there will be a day where people start selling their Ethereum blue chips and start buying Cardano blue chips. I don't think it's happened in mass yet, but there will be a day where people sell punks to get a space bud. They sell a Bored Ape to get a ape society. When that happens, it's going to be a domino effect. There's going to be FOMO, and there will be a great migration, and we're all going to be here, and we're here early, and I'm just for it, and I think everybody did a great job up here. Could we just get a hand of applause? I think that's all we got for today. Right. He's got to get the last word.
No, I don't have to give the last word. Just let everybody know we're doing a BitBoy Crypto meetup, 11:15. I think they moved it to the exhibition hall. So if you guys are looking for the meetup, we're going to go. I'm going to talk for a little bit. We'll do some Q&A, and then at the end we'll do some pictures, and you guys come up, talk to me for a minute, stuff like that. So just wanted to shill my meetup.
All right, that's all we got. Thank you very much.